Welcome to Python 101. Today we are going to do some initial introduction into functions, lambda, and apply. How do you apply these functions into your data frame? This topic is a little bit more complicated, but please bear with me. I'm very sure that with some practice into it, you will be able to understand it later. All right. First of all, let's just run this one. Okay, now functions are formulas that you write. These are the formulas that you will use time again and again and again in your programming. Therefore, you don't want to write formulas again. You just need to call out the function and you can run those formulas. It's just like if you want to say, take a piece of data and you multiply by 2, divide by 3, and after that you want to square it to return a new value. You don't want to keep writing that formula. You write the formula ahead of time and then you assign it to a function name. Then whenever they call that function name, these formulas will apply. Okay, let's try something. Suppose I have the function name called func, called fun. Function of x will return x times 2. Okay, this is the function which I'm going to define. And if I run that cell, it will not return anything. You don't see anything. But when I call that function, it will return something. In order to call that function, I type func. And what do I want to put in that x? In place of x, I put 3. Run it. It's 6. Okay, let me explain this. X here is like a box. It's an empty box. So what do I want to do with that box? Whatever you put into that box, it doubles. For example, if I want to put apples in that box, I want to put 3 apples into that box. It doubles to 6. If I want to put 4 apples into the box, it doubles to 8. If I want to put 5 apples into that box, it doubles to 10. So what this function func actually does is whatever quantity of apples that you place into this box called x, it will double it. Okay, now let's try another one. This time, whatever apples you put into that box, it will add 2 more. Okay, so I call the function name func in the bracket. Let me see how many apples should I put into that box. 5. It becomes 7. Maybe I put 10 apples into that box. 12. Okay. Now, let's do something a little bit more practical. Let's change this figure here. 2 times 0.9. Okay. Now, let's take this as a discount. I'm running a shop, selling fruits, at whatever you buy, I will reduce it by 10%. That means you only pay 90%. I have a 10% discount. So whatever I put into the cash register, I keyed it in, it will return 0.9. Okay, if I buy $10 worth of goods, now I have to pay $9. If I buy $20 worth of goods, I just pay 18. So I hope you see the usefulness of this function. Okay. I can also put it a little bit more complicated. Instead of just saying x times 2 or x times 0.9, I can have this formula here. You can put in whatever formula you like. Okay, let's just run this one. And whatever I put into that box, 20, it returns 506, because 20 plus 2 is 22. 20 plus 3 is 23. So 22 times 23 is 506. Okay. I can also make it a little bit more complicated. Function, whatever I put into this box, it will add 2, add 3, add 4, and multiply them all together. Let's put in 20. 12,144. Okay. Okay, I hope that you understand about functions right now. Let's talk about lambda. Okay, lambda is just another way of describing or writing a function. Instead of writing function of x, return x times 2, I can write function and put lambda x. So lambda x is equivalent to function of x. Okay, colon x times 2. Okay, so instead of writing it this way, I write it this way. So lambda x colon x times 2 is equivalent to function of x, like here. X is a box, equals to whatever I put into that box, it will multiply by 2. So how do I call it out? Let's run it. And right now, I just put in 2. See, it's 4. So whatever I put into that box, I put 3 apples into that box, it becomes 6. All right. And over here, it's the same. Whatever I put into that box, it adds 2 more. Okay. So lambda works the same way as function. All right. It's just another different, it's just another way of writing it. So some more examples here. 156. It's actually 10 plus 2 multiplied by 10 plus 3. Okay, what about this? Function 10, 2001. Okay, so it's actually 10 plus 2 plus 10 times 10 plus 3 times 10 plus 4. You get 2001. Okay, now you can put in more than one box, more than one empty box into this function. So in this case, I have 3 empty boxes, and whatever you put into that box, it will add them all together. Okay, let's see, let's try it out. Function 1. I have changed the name to function 1. Okay, now what do I want to put into the box? The first box I put 2. The second box I put 2. The third box I put 2. So what happens is that when I put 2 apples into each box, it will add up all the apples together in all the 3 boxes. See? 6. Isn't that wonderful? And this time I used function. I used the lambda. Okay, so it's actually the same thing. Instead of lambda, you just substitute with function 1. Okay, function 1 here, 3 empty boxes. And whatever I put into these 3 empty boxes, they will add it all up together. So run this cell. Function 1 goes to 2. 2 apples into the first box, x. 2 apples into the second box, y. 2 into the third box called z. Let's run this. And sorry, what happened? Sorry, I have to remove this typo error here. All right, 6. Okay, I can change this to 3, 3, 3. 3 apples into the first box called X. 3 apples into the second box called X. 3 apples go into the third box called X. And you add them all up together. Becomes 9. Okay, so now let's try to apply this into a data frame. Okay, now it gets a little bit more complicated, but please stay with me. All right, so now I have created a new data frame. Let's run this. Okay, this one is actually the color of the shoes. The red color, I have 1 in the store. Blue color shoes, I have 2 in the store. Green, and so on, so forth and so forth and so forth. Okay, these are the colors, these are the quantity. All right, and so now one customer walked in and buy 1 pair of each. 1 pair of each. Okay, so now I have to update my stocks. So what do? I use this column here, that is quantity, df quantity, do an apply. This is a function. That means I apply this function to this column. Okay, what do I apply? I apply lambda x equals to x minus 1. In other words, x is an empty box, and whatever shoes I put into this box, it will less 1. So if I put 2 into this box, it will become 1. If I put one shoe into this box, it will become 0. Okay, and this x, when it applies to this column, it will go through every row of this column, and it will return and save it in the same column here. So I will work on this column using this lambda formula over here, and I will return it again and override it and save the new values in the same column. Okay. There you go. Initially, there was 1 stocks of 1. Now it's 0. Initially it was 2. Now it becomes 1. Because when I use apply, X actually goes through every row, and it does what it is written here. It was initially 1. I less 1 becomes 0. It was initially 2. I less 1 becomes 1. 2 less 1 becomes 1. 1 less 1 becomes 0. Okay, suppose I want to add another column here to describe the stock's availability on a new column. It's either out of stocks or available, depending on the status, the quantity status here. Okay, so what I do is I will read quantity status here and apply this formula. After apply the formula in lambda, I will create a new column called stocks, and I will output the results into this new column. Okay, so in this case, let's run it first and then I will explain. Run it, explain. Okay, there you see. You can see here, right? So what does this formula say? Lambda x means here, we need to output out of stocks if x is equal to 0. But now I put a double equal because this is a condition. it is a condition. This is my condition. It has to be 0. Okay, if it's 0, we output this string called out of stocks. If it's not 0, it's else, I output available. Okay, so now as I apply this formula to this quantity column here, it outputs either out of stocks or available, and it will save it in a new column called stocks. Okay, so as you can see, 0 becomes out of stocks. 1 means available. All right, this is the end of our video. In the next few videos, we will go deeper into lambda function, apply, and other interesting functions that will help you in your work with data frames. Thank you.